It was a dark and stormy night when Jack, a young man traveling through the countryside, found himself lost in a mysterious village. The rain was pouring down in sheets, and the wind was howling through the deserted streets. Jack had no idea how he had ended up here, but he knew he needed to find shelter before the storm got any worse. It was a dark and stormy night when Jack, a young man traveling through the countryside, found himself lost in a mysterious village. The rain was pouring down in sheets, and the wind was howling through the deserted streets. Jack had no idea how he had ended up here, but he knew he needed to find shelter before the storm got any worse. Jack continued to walk, trying to find any sign of life or shelter. He was soaked to the bone, and the cold was starting to seep into his bones. Suddenly, he spotted a light in the distance. It was a small inn, with a flickering lantern hanging outside the door. Jack rushed towards it, hoping that he could find some warmth and shelter inside. When he entered the inn, he was surprised to find that it was completely empty. There was a fire burning in the hearth, and a few chairs and tables scattered around the room, but there was no one there to greet him. Jack was both relieved and unnerved by this. On one hand, he was grateful for the warmth and shelter, but on the other hand, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was off about this place. He decided to make the best of his situation and settled down in front of the fire. As he warmed his hands and dried his clothes, he tried to piece together what had happened. He had been driving through the countryside when he got caught in the storm, but he couldn't remember how he had ended up in this village. It was as if he had been transported here by some mysterious force. As the night wore on, Jack heard strange noises coming from the inn's upper floors. It sounded like footsteps, but he couldn't tell if they were human or not. He tried to ignore the sounds and focus on getting some rest, but he couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. The next morning, Jack woke up to find that the storm had passed. He went downstairs to thank the innkeeper for his hospitality, but he found the inn empty once again. He searched the village for any sign of life, but there was still no one around. It was as if the storm had swept the entire village away. As he drove away from the village, Jack couldn't shake the feeling that he had stumbled upon something truly mysterious. He couldn't explain what had happened, but he knew that he would never forget the strange, deserted village and the eerie night he had spent there.